Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Govs on the Go Alumni Edition, a podcast featuring alumni from the College of Arts and Letters here at Austin Peay State University. My name is Dr. Buzz Hoon. I'm the host of the podcast. I'm also the dean of the college. Today, I'm talking with Mike Andrews, who graduated from Austin Peay in 1985. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah. And then I went back and got my certification in 92.
In 92. Well, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on.
Thank you so much. I'm honored.
Yeah, this is, I was also a graduate of college from the 80s, so we probably have a lot in common. So it's going to be fun to talk to you about your experiences here in Tennessee.
Cool.
So let's give everybody a life update before we start to tell your story. Where are you? What's going on?
My wife and I, we live out here in Cunningham, Tennessee. I teach at Montgomery Central Elementary School. I've been a working artist for pretty much all my life. I'm just having a good time. It's pretty nice. I've got the best of all worlds. My work is wonderful. I have the opportunity to create from time to time. My wife and I have been together since high school, and we've got 3 kids, and so I'm pretty blessed.
Yes, and we will talk about the educator part of your life. We'll talk about the artist part of your life. But we're going to go back because, as you told me, you actually were born on the East Coast in Baltimore, Maryland, but you made it to Clarksville, like so many other people, because of your dad and his connection to the military. Can you talk a little bit about your early memories of Clarksville?
Oh, we moved to Fort Campbell when I was about 15. So I've been here ever since. But as a kid, we lived 8 years in Germany. We traveled a lot. It was kind of a really terrific life. A little nomadic, but
Yeah.
nice.
So do you think that in terms of just having that military connection and being on the move like that, did that help you in many ways develop into a certain type of person, because of probably you had to meet a lot of different other kids along the way?
Yes. Yeah. Being an Army brat, you really kind of have to know how to meet new people and to kind of go with the flow, is kind of just making the best of each move and things like that. But one of the things that I remember the most as a kid, and the advantage that I had being somebody that was overseas a lot, was I was the youngest of 4. And my mother would take me to museums and to cathedrals and all kinds of wonderful places. And so I think that was a big part of my schemata, my life experience. I think that kind of directed me as far as that goes into the arts. Now, I've always been kind of a loner. I love doing my art, and I've done that ever since I was, 8 years old. I think that was when I first took an art class. And so,
Well, a lot of kids get exposed to art at a young age, but not many people continue it. When did you have a sense of, this is something I like to do, or I like to create things? When did you get a feel for that?
it's funny you say that. I went to visit my mom in Germany last month, and she was saying, that I was one of those lucky ones. I always knew what I wanted to do. So I always loved working with my hands. Whenever I had time, I would play with something: mud, clay, rocks, just whatever I could find.
So early on, you sort of got this feel for, and I wonder, is that cultivated? Is that something that people along the way have found, or do you think that it's inherent in terms of just your spirit, your soul kind of needed to express, and this is the outlet for it?
I think kind of both. I think it was just something that was in me, and I had encouragement, and my parents were good with it, kept me out of trouble, so that was always a
With the
good
youngest
thing.
one, they just let's just let him go and do what he wants to do.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah. And I wasn't causing trouble, so it was good.
That's always and now as a parent, that's the key thing.
Yes, yes.
So you moved here to Clarksville, and you're probably in the high school age.
Yeah.
Again, were you in art classes? Were you what kind of things were you doing in high school?
Um, well, yeah, I took as many art classes as I could. In fact, my senior year, I think I had 3 sessions of art. But out at Fort Campbell, they have just wonderful facilities and supplies and things like that. And Kathy DePriest was my teacher, and she encouraged me to create. Uh, I, it was a wonderful experience because before that, we didn't really have art in elementary school and middle school so much. But when I came here, I had that opportunity to take the art classes. So that was nice. So I always did things on my own before that.
Mhm.
And also another thing that was really nice about being an Army brat, every post that we went to had these wonderful craft shops, and they would have classes. And so I learned how to do jewelry casting, lapidary work, you know, played with clay, just, whatever we wanted to. It was amazing. It was wonderful.
Wow. So
So that was even before high school. So
mhm.
when I went to high school and I saw all these other opportunities and possibilities and the history, and it just kind of opened up the world.
So tell us how you got to Austin P. Why Austin P? I always like to find out why Austin P. and then why you decided upon the major. I mean, obviously you've sort of found this love, but sometimes people will decide I need to major in business, and then hide this, kind of suppress this love of something else, and it just comes bubbling back up.
Yeah. Well, Kathy DePriest, she was a student of Olin's, and in '79 we went to Austin P, and I met Olin, and I just thought the world of him. I thought he was wonderful, and I decided I wanted to work with him. Um, so Kathy introduced me to him. Uh, I met him. He was just such a warm person, um, talented, and then I took some of his classes, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's messing with my head. I don't know what he's thinking about. What is going on here? And then I finally realized he was just trying to get us to think. So he would have these wonderful conversations with us, and it really kind of opened us up to finding ourselves.
Hmm.
And I always loved that. And then I finally figured out what he was about, and then it was, he just became a mentor, a friend. I worked with him for 10 years as a studio assistant, and that was probably the best job you could have. It was wonderful.
So, for those of you that are listening or watching, if you've been around the campus, that you can still see Olin, his influence, and it's definitely evident. And But what many people don't know is the type of person he was, in terms of I've heard, since I've been here, lots of stories of how not only would he mentor somebody like yourself, but he helped a lot of students along the way anonymously, because he would hear and find out about people that were struggling, and
Yes.
he would help take care of financial obligations.
Yes. Yeah, he did that. And uh he would if he went through the department and he saw that there was a student that needed something, uh, they would end up having it. It was, and some of the young folks, they knew about him. Some of them didn't, and it was just always kind of surprising, a pleasant surprise. He was just a wonderful, wonderful person. He really cared about all of us, and he wanted us all to find our own way too.
That's interesting because I think that if I found somebody that was so special like that, it would be hard not to want to emulate
Hmm.
and maybe even in a way, whether you're conscious or not, duplicate what he's doing. How did you find any difficulty? It sounds like he was very encouraging, but in terms of separating yourself from not wanting to follow exactly everything that he's doing.
Um, well, we did uh, in so many ways because his respect for material was something that he taught us.
Mm-hmm.
And so even in our own direction, as far as the style goes, we were still true to the materials and we still kind of followed some of those tenets, using hand tools instead of everything being powered. Uh, he taught us the basics and he shared so much with us, the history, all the different artists from the modern, from early 20th century. He exposed us to those artists, and so he did inspire us to kind of follow his way. Um, Now there are some things I've done. The last show I did at the museum was kind of in honor of Olin. So I did a few pieces that were kind of in his style, um, simple, angelic, you know, nice. But Olin, he he really wanted us to find our own. You know, that's the beauty of what he did. I have friends from other colleges, and they were just amazed at how he encouraged us to find our own way, where some of their professors wanted them to make little, be clones of the professor.
Right.
He wasn't like that. He wanted us to be ourselves. So he was wonderful.
And so again, I'm trying to I want people to have an idea of this legacy of how within that we have this wonderful legacy, I think, in art here at this university. That in your time, tell us a little bit about other memories that you have from that period of time of what it was like to be an art student in the 1980s.
Um, well, we were really blessed. We had just a wonderful faculty. I know the Austin P still has wonderful, you know, professors, but I had Flancy Holder as the history teacher. She was just amazing. She would take a 3 hour lecture and it seemed like it was only 20 minutes. It would just like, wait, we're not done yet, are we? Come on, give me some more. She was incredible. I had Max Hochstetler, painting teacher. He was just another warm soul. Lewis Burton, Olin, all these folks, it was just such a warm kind of place to be. It was wonderful. And then also I was down in the basement and the dungeon. And so it was really kind of fun being down there and not very many people were there. And so I could just have a blast, kick up a lot of dust, make a lot of noise. It was great.
Yeah. And were there other students that you remember from that period of time that were sort of your cohorts?
Yeah, there were a bunch of them. And there were so many talented students. Tim Blake was one. He was fantastic. 2D painter, did some beautiful work. Casey was there. Peg Harville. I don't know if you know Peg Harville, but um, she was a student there at that time. She was a blast. It was just a terrific time.
Hmm. So other things that you remember from your time during in Austin P as an undergrad that you cherish?
Um, well, yeah, of course. We just had a lot of fun. I had like I said, the professors, they allowed me to do what I was passionate about. I just produced so much work. I was in heaven. I mean, it's terrific. I mean, I don't know exactly, what to say. The whole experience was good. You know.
So, Mike, when you were getting towards graduation, did you have a plan? Did you know what you were going to do afterwards?
Um, no, not really. I wanted to be an artist and
Hmm.
romantic idea and all that, but I also wanted to have everything. I wanted the house, I wanted the car, I wanted the wife, the children, the family, the all of that. So it was like, maybe I better find a real job. And so that's when I decided to go back to Austin P and get my teaching certification and and then also my youngest son, he had to have heart surgery when he was 3 months old, and I was like, "Oh, I've got to get the insurance. I can't let my babies
Yeah.
fall ill. And so I lucked into a job. Well, I actually worked for Austin P for a while as an adjunct professor. I taught out at Fort Campbell, and then I worked with Clarksville Academy, and I thought, well, it's not a bad gig. I think I think I'll go back and become a teacher.
It's interesting that you had mentioned about early in your life that there wasn't many teachers at the younger level, and you're kind of in this spot where you're filling that hole. I'm sure you're having that sort of influence. I've seen the number of awards you won, and so the fact that you just kind of think that you've stumbled into education, but you are so successful at that. Did you ever get an idea, like, as you said, maybe I am pretty good at this and I can pass along my love, and I maybe have a little bit of a gift that I can pass on to other people?
Yes, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be a teacher. I had all this information in my head, and I love for art history, all of that, and um, I wanted to share that. And I also feel that being an artist, being a creative person, I don't want all my students to become artists, but I do want them to open their eyes to see that creativity is important in any kind of job or any kind of situation you're in. So I wanted to instill that in the kids. And that's one reason why I'm so blessed at teaching elementary, because elementary is so important, to get those creative juices going and that
Amen.
start. So
Because I totally agree with you there, Mike, because I think so often that it's just about planting the seed and letting it grow. It may end up that that person becomes an artist, but it may just be that that person loves the and appreciates art, and
yeah,
that's okay too. Not everybody will
yes,
be just like we talk about sometimes with music or theater, or any of the fine arts. Sometimes it's just planting that seed and letting it develop, because that, just as it happened for you, somebody was encouraging you and allowing that to continue to grow into making you who you are.
yeah. I it's just kind of a wonderful experience.
So you must see in some young people along the way that all of a sudden, like a flower blooming, that the art is coming alive for them, and that's a return gift for you as well.
It is. immensely so. I mean, I've had contact with so many students, former students, and they've expressed those kind of feelings, Mr. Andrews, you got me going on this, and now they're graphic artists, they're working in, different artistic creative fields. And then also there's some that get in contact with me not because of the art per se, but because I care about them,
Right.
and they remembered some things that helped them later in life. And so, you know, touching young people in this way is just really kind of a blessing. It's amazing.
Absolutely. I try to remind our professors all the time here that we have so many touches with people, and you don't know
No, you
exactly.
don't.
Yeah, you don't know that the encouraging word, the support that you've given, the feedback in some way, how that's going to turn somebody's life in a positive way.
That's right. Yeah, and it can be some of the simplest things. Just, you know, just a little. I care about you. I I took the time to listen to you in the morning when you came in. Whatever. It's
Do you think that, and just this just came to me randomly. Did you ever get a chance to say to Olin, to let him know? Do you think he knew the sort of impact he was having on other people?
yes, yes. Uh, like I said, I worked with Olin for 10 years, and then my son worked with him for about 10 years as well, my oldest boy.
Okay.
And so we kept in contact, and we would hang out sometimes. And yeah, he knew how important he was to me, my family, and yeah, we did discuss how he motivated and how he inspired so many people.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great, because I know that there's an effort that we are trying to do some scholarship
Hmm.
and I hope that people that are watching or listening to this will also consider providing support for that, because again, an important figure here on the Austin P campus.
Right. Yeah. The Olin Bryant Scholarship Fund. We're trying to help it, trying to keep that, legacy alive.
Absolutely. So other people will know about his impact.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Mike Andrews, the artist. And again, what I really love about what I've seen from your work, and one of the things that I was going to bring up is just before we began recording, you partnered with Charlie Faust at the Foundry to do some work where was it reclaiming, or was it taking material that had been wooden material from the foundry and then repurposing it?
Yeah. Um, yeah, that was really kind of something that was exciting. These are all wooden patterns for casting metal. All right. So the patterns are made out of wood. They're impressed into sand, and then removed from the sand, and then they pour the iron, the metal into it. Um, these things were things that his father had collected. He just, some of them were just incredibly beautiful, and made out of mahogany and old pine and just really interesting shapes. Well, Charlie's father started collecting them. He just couldn't get rid of them. And then Charlie started collecting them. And Charlie, he wanted one for his house. And so I took a whole bunch of those patterns and took them to his garage, 2-car garage, good size space, and came up with some projects. And now they're hanging in his house. So because of that, he wanted to have the primo pieces you know, for his sculpture. So after we made those, then he let me work with the rest of them. So I have a bunch of those patterns in my studio, in my shed, in a tent out by my house. So, I, and so yeah, it was terrific. And these things are just unbelievable. I mean, these are old world craftsmen
Mm-hmm.
that made these patterns, and so they're just put together beautifully. So it was really kind of a fun kind of thing. It was a Louise Nevelson kind of experience. I don't know if you know her work, but she did a lot of things with wood and patterns and things like that as well. And so it was pretty cool.
Well, the first time I visited Charlie at the Foundry, I saw one of your artworks. I did not know about you. I did not know who produced it, but Charlie said, this is I had somebody that made this, and this is an unbelievable. And I just couldn't stop looking at it because it's interesting from afar, but it's interesting as you can continue to get close up and figure out how did this come to be. Is right there in his lobby area.
Yeah.
And and then I find out that you produced it, and it's fascinating to me that again that this continues. Now you talk about your studio, that you continue to do things. So talk. What are you working on recently? Where are you sort of finding your products being? How's that coming to be?
Um, uh, I'm usually working on quite a few pieces at a time. I
Okay.
have a few stone pieces. I just finished a walnut piece. It's a female figure. I'm finishing up on another walnut piece. It's about 3.5 feet. It's a mother and child. So yeah, I'm keeping busy and still producing. It's kind of nice, when the kids were young, I was really working hard to feed the bulldog,
Mm-hmm.
make money to make sure that everything was taken care of and all that. Well, now, in the last, I guess, 10 years, it's been I'm just making things for myself. If somebody's interested in it, fine, but I'm not taking commissions or anything like that. I'm just feeding the soul.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, I'm always working on something. If I'm not, then I'm won't be around anymore.
Well, another thing that I appreciate is you continue to also provide your time to different community groups, a number of different groups that you have supported that keep art alive in the county as well. And you know, I'm sure your time, as you said, you've got your job as an educator. You're trying to produce your own artwork. You've got your family time, and why do you carve out time for other like a community group?
Um, I just feel like that's important. The community's given so much to me and
Mm.
my, children, and I have the opportunity. I have, some knowledge that I feel like is advantageous for these groups. The ad hoc art committee, the Olin Bryant thing. I was on the city art commission. These things I think are important, and I want to be part of it, but also I want it to represent our community. And so because this is such an important place for me, I mean, this is where my wife and I decided we wanted to raise our family.
Yeah.
I want to help in any way I can. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but I do have some time. So be happy to give some of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Mike, one of the things that I'm just kind of putting together here, you say you moved when you were 15, and did you ever kind of get a sense like this is really where I'm going to put my roots down? And it's a great place. I mean, my wife and I are finding it to be a great place, but the fact that it's become home for you.
Um, Well, at that age, no, I didn't think that way, but the older I got, yeah. And I guess I was early 20s. It was like, yeah, I like the pace.
Mhm.
In Germany, my mother's from Munich. It's a big city, lots of stuff going on. I love it there, but I couldn't live there. I love being out here in the country, waking up to the bird songs, you know, pretty much being a safe community for my children to grow up in. It's we just love it here. It's
Well,
Tennessee's.
I do appreciate that you have a sense of that you are blessed, and you're very humble about your about all the things that you do. I've had to do a little bit of outside digging to make sure they give you the justice you deserve for because you just to let the listeners and the viewers know, you were also selected by the art and design folks here for Alumni of the Year one year, which was
Yeah,
a nice recognition as well.
that was pretty amazing. I was really kind of shocked because there's so many talented people that came from Austin P, and I was like, wow, I'm not worthy. You know, it was amazing. Yes.
So, Mike, we always like to end our interviews with recommendations that you might have for students because, you are somebody, again, that's helping to influence and direct young people into this subject area. So what kind of things would you have for a college student, though?
Um, you know, a lot of times people go for money, and that's important. You've got to feed yourself, feed the belly, but love what you do.
Mm.
Find your own way. You know, be yourself. And yeah, look ahead, make sure that you can survive and that you can take care of what you need to do. But most of all, feed the soul. Know what you want and go for it. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's good gracious, we learn from them. In
That's
fact, we
right.
learn more from them. So just do the best to be yourself.
Well said. I appreciate that. And it's a good reminder for people of all ages that you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's great catching up with you on the podcast, Mike. Thanks for being our guest this week.
Thank you so much. I had a good time. I hope it didn't sound too silly, but you get what you get.
You get what you get. That's right. And thanks to all of our viewers and listeners out there for checking out the podcast. We hope that you will join us again as we continue to profile some of the outstanding alumni here in the College of Arts and Letters at Austin Peay State University. So until next time, stay safe, take care, and God bless.